Colleagues, welcome to your FAC 2601 third online class. Let me get back to my slides and our contact details. First off, our MRL, Mr. Beloy, Andre Isley, Frank Montgomery, and our email addresses. And you can reach us at fact2601@uniso.ac.za with regards to all technical queries that you have got with the module. Regarding any lesson tools, regarding any material, please send us that emails to our dedicated email address. Colleagues, we cannot assist you with any administrative matters. Unfortunately, we haven't got the resources to look at any registration, administration, financial issues. We can only deal with the technical aspect of the module as such. Okay. I have to say that from the onset, we will be looking at two sessions this morning, which concentrate on IFRS 18, lesson tool 3, as well as lesson tool 4. Now, just a few house rules as indicated. Our dedicated email address, fact2601@uniso.ac.za. And I will leave questions and answers after each session. We're going to split up the session in both two because we need to cover two lesson units. And I'm basically going to highlight the most important areas for these two sessions. All right. Inventory, we're going to spend some time on it. But for this next session, IFRS 18, we will be going at a quicker rate, and I will highlight the most important issues for you. Just from an assessment perspective, you will note that you will write your first assessment 1 on the 18th of March, all right, and the link will open on the My Module site at 12 o'clock, and that link will take you directly to the CAS My Exam site. Colleagues, this assessment will consist of lesson tools 1 to 4 and will be mainly out of theoretical questions as well as calculation questions, which is 20 questions and consist of the first 4 lesson tools. So it is important that you understand the theory, and more or less you've only dealt with theory, where you will notice that you have dealt with certain dividends calculations, capitalization calculations, underwriting of shares, and then obviously looking at inventory today, you will be able to address those questions. Please note that the assessment 1 will open up at 12 and closes at 9. Once you've logged in, I will take you there quickly. If we can quickly go to the site. So for your perspective, you will come directly to assessment under lesson tool 0. All right. You will come to assessment 1. This assessment 1 site is currently, I'm not quite sure whether you can view it, but then there will be a link where it will take you directly to the CAS My Exam site. All right. And then that CAS My Exam site, assessment 1, will become available for you. You will notice that you must access your camera, as that is a requirement of assessment 1. Just from a logistics perspective, that it will take you directly to the CAS My Exams portal, where you will access assessment 1, and it will only become available at 12 o'clock. Once you opened it up, you will within 12 o'clock, you will only have 2 hours to submit your assessment. And in that, you cannot log in and out. In that 2 hours, there will be a timer running for you. And once you've logged in, you will have then 2 hours to attempt 2 submissions. The system will automatically record the highest submission. Okay, so let me get back to my slides. So again, colleagues, it's important to note that you will only have 2 hours The assessment one cannot be moved. It cannot be postponed. You need to make sure that you submit within the allocate time. Okay, colleagues, let's get to the sessions for today, and which is IFRS 18. IFRS 18 is a fairly new standard. We have introduced IFRS 18, the presentation and disclosure of annual financial statements, that replaces the old standard of International Accounting Standards 1. All right, so this is the new presentation and the disclosure statement or standard that has been issued, and it must be implemented on the 1st of January 2027, and you need to retrospectively apply it. That would mean that you will need to adjust 2026 figures. All right, so for your perspective, I'm only going to show you what you need to know and as to why IFRS 18 was implemented. Now, IFRS 18 was implemented for the better requirements for the presentation and disclosure in financial statements that provide better and relevant information for entities concerning their assets, liabilities, equity, income, and expenses. Okay, so colleagues, this is a standard that is more concentrated on the profit and loss statement and more so than the other statements. The change is therefore to better get comparability, understandability, transparency, relevance, and faithful representation as to what IAS 1 offered. So that is why there is a new standard that is standardized amongst all entities, and emphases are being placed on the statement of profit or loss in regards to certain categories of which we will look at. So for your perspective, you still need to complete a set of financial statements which consist of the statement of financial performance, which is your statement of profit or loss, and that is for the reporting period, the statement of changes in equity for the reporting period, statement of cash flows, which you do not concentrate on, which you deal with in FAC 2602, the notes, comparative information, and management defined performance measurements. And then obviously your statement of financial position that's at the end of the reporting period, of which is a photo shoot of how you've ended when you look at the statement of balance sheet or statement of financial position, you take it at that date. That is how your entity has progressed through their reporting year. Now, colleagues, the requirements of IFRS 18 either consist now that you need to require a single statement of profit and loss and other comprehensive income, like we have had in International Accounting Standards 1, and or two separate statements, the statement of profit or loss and the statement of the other comprehensive income. Colleagues, our perspective is that you still combine them as what you have seen under IAS 1 or in your study material lesson tool 3, where we have explained to you the example 5. And then it is important to note the identification when you present your financial statements. All right. So the company name XYZ Group individually entity, you must mention that for the year ended. It must be rounding in currency, frequency of reporting, how often to report, consistency, comparative information, aggregation and disaggregation, which items to group together, nature of income and expense items, and then the principles of offsetting. Now, colleagues, it seems like a real mouthful in regards to IFRS 18. And from here on, before I continue on the categories in statement of profit and loss, let me quickly take you directly to the layout. Okay, this is the layout of FAC 2601 purposes. We are concentrating on the function method. And before I continue, it is what you need to know. But let me just emphasize something for FAC 2601 purposes. We are moving away towards requiring from you to present annual financial statements. And we are moving towards better discussion type questions where you need to interpret certain requirements according to the standards. So colleagues, what I'm basically saying is that we will in rare instances still ask of you to present a statement of profit or loss, a statement of financial position, a statement of changes in equity. Obviously, the notes are very important and we will ask notes of you, but in very rare circumstances, we will ask of you the statements that you need to prepare. These statements will not fall away for accounting. They will still always be part, but they are moving towards the first year module. So you will be the last students to be assessed on the statements as they are being presented here. So for your perspective, yes, I understand that you have not dealt with IAS 1 and IFRS 18 is now the new presentation and disclosure format for financial statements. And I will take you through that quickly and directly and to show you exactly what you need to know for your upcoming assessments. But as a disclosure from our side, statements or the preparation and formats of statements does not form the matrix or the pinnacle of the module FAC 2601. We require from you to understand, interpret, discuss, calculate, and provide concise answers according to the standards. So it is highly unlikely that we will ask of you all the full set of financial statements. But it's important to note that you still know IFRS 18 is the crux of financial statements, and this is the way that you need to disclose them. All right, colleagues, this is the format that can be required of you when we will ask of you to prepare the statement of profit and loss. But having said that, as we indicated, we are moving away towards asking you the preparation of financial statements. We will rather ask of you, for example, please provide please discuss revenue recognition on certain principles or on the 5-step model for whatever case that might be. And then you need to discuss by interpreting the standard as to how you should recognize revenue. But from the onset, this is the example for IFRS 18 presenting the statement of profit or loss and other comprehensive income by function. Okay, this is the method that FAC 2601 prescribes. We don't lean towards the nature, so you can ignore nature for now for your study purposes for FAC 2601, as when we address or ask of you a statement of profit or loss, we refer to the function method. Okay, and before we come back to the statement, let's look at the categories. Now, colleagues, as indicated, IFRS 18 has introduced better, relevant, reliable, comparable, understandable information, and they've split the statement of profit or loss up into certain categories. Okay, the first category, which will be the operating category, is the default category if you cannot allocate or aggregate and disaggregate certain income and expenses in a other category, then it will automatically fall towards the operating category. But colleagues, I will show you in an example where when it comes to your purposes, for all of our entities which falls under manufacturing entities, it's not a specified main business activity, it's an operating manufacturing entity. You will always classify certain things still under the operating part of your section of profit and loss. Okay, so the operating section I will show you is dealing with the default category for income and expenses not classified elsewhere. Now, let me from the onset give you an example. Depreciation on motor vehicles or assets, which forms part of your business operations, that depreciation will fall under your operating activity, and I will show you under which line item. All right. Or other fair value adjustments, interest on investments, all of those things will fall under investing category. And when you have got interest on or finance cost on your loans or borrowings, they will fall under financing activities. Now, let me tell you, we as FACT 2601 do not deal with entities that are of a specified main business activity. For example, investing in assets, investment bonds. The character of the main business of these entities classifies certain expenses in operating rather than investing or financing categories. For example, interest expense for a protection company is in the financing category, but for a bank would be in the operating category because it forms part of its operations. Okay. So basically what we are saying, a specified main business activity is, for example, a banking institution like Absa. All of their revenue or their interest on their deposits that you make do not fall under investing activities, but it will fall under operating activities because that is their operations. They are in the business of lending and giving out finances, borrowings, loans, okay? That is their business. So when you have interest on loans from customers or deposits made at the bank, it will fall under the operation for a bank because that's their main business activity. We, as FACT 2601, do not deal with any specified main business activity. So you will find that we don't have any banking institutions or specialized protection company companies. We will only deal with manufacturing entities, and all of their categories will look the same, which means that when you deal with fair value adjustments on investments or your finance cost on borrowings, it will come under investing and financing, and then all other things like your depreciation, profit or loss on sale of assets will fall under the operating section, and I will show you an example when we need to deal with that. So colleagues, this is the categories introduced in the new IFRS 18 that everyone needs to comply with, all the entities out there. And the operating section, as we indicated, consists of depreciation on PPE. Now, this is not the only thing that will fall under there, okay? I will show you an example, but it is an operating asset that forms part of its operations as a normal manufacturing entity does. It's not in the business to provide loans or a bank that need to get deposits and hand out loans. And then for a manufacturing entity, when you've got rental income, gains and losses, including fair value adjustments on investment property, it will fall under the investing category. So all those gains and losses, fair value adjustments, rental income, all those things will fall under the investing category. And then income and expenses from loans, your financing costs will fall under the financing category as under finance cost. Okay. The character of their main business of these entities classifies certain expenses in operating rather than investing or financing categories. For entities that hold investment properties for rental or capital appreciation as their core business, the gains and losses are classified in the operating category. So when we are dealing with a specialized main business activity like an investment property company, those capital appreciation or gains and losses will go to the operating section. But for your purposes, you will not classify investment property gains and losses under operating because it's not a main business activity. This is a manufacturing entity that has got for argument's sake, an investment property that it bought for capital appreciation, and those gains and losses will fall under investing category. Okay, so the classification is based on the nature of the asset, liability, or transaction which they are derived from. All right, colleagues, I will go quickly through this, but I'm just highlighting the most important things for your perspective. Like I've said, the critical part of this is that you understand the different categories and different totals that were introduced by IFRS 18, but it is highly unlikely that you will need to draft statements of profit or loss, but we can still ask them. We can still ask of you to prepare the statement of profit or loss, but we are moving away from the preparation of statement of financial position, statement of profit or loss, and so forth, and concentrate more on discussion type of questions where you need to interpret the standard and calculations and then the note requirements. But colleagues, it's real easy for your perspective. IFRS 18, you need to know that the financial statements, yes, they've got the notes, and the statement of profit, loss, and other comprehensive income can be presented in two ways and or mixed. We, as indicated before, classify your statement of profit or loss and other comprehensive income according to the function method, which give rise to them, and that is the FACT 2601 preferred method. All right, so I'm going to show you exactly what you need to know, okay, for examination and assessment preparation. As well as, colleagues, you need to know that from a theoretical perspective, we will ask of you multiple choice questions that addresses where you need to classify certain items under which category. And I have already indicated as to how or where you need to classify these type of things according to the categories. All right. But the IFRS 18 says that there is no choice anymore. It really depends on the main business activity, where you need to allocate or classify your income and expense items. All right. So the categories are most important. Now, colleagues, this is a set of financials, a depiction of what you will need to know. Whenever we ask of you the statement of profit or loss, it is presented by the function method. All right. So you will have as normal your revenue, your cost of sales for IAS 2, which we will look at after this session. Your gross profit, your selling expenses, general and administrative expenses, research and development costs, which you will ignore, and then the total that was introduced, operating profit. This is a new total. All right. And then, colleagues, you've got your investing category. This investing category consists of the interest income from cash and cash equivalents, your gains and losses on fair value adjustments on investments. All right. Your profit before financing income tax is another required subtotal as introduced by the standard. Then your financing category, interest expense on borrowings, which consists of your finance cost and liabilities, all of them will be categorized under the financing category. Profit before income tax, the income tax expense, and then profit from continuing operations, loss from discontinued operations, and then the profit for the year subtotal. So all entities implementing IFRS 18 throughout the world is supposed to present the new IFRS 18 requirements according to their categories. Categories are the way to go to highlight a better understanding of your performance regarding your profit or loss statement for the year. All right. So this is the method that we will also require from you, and I will take you through an example that will show you this. Colleagues, now the investing category, to think about something that is classified under the investing category, I've given you a summary from your study material just in the presentation to really recognize what you need to bring into the investing category. That is other assets generating return independent from other resources, rentals from collected from investment property or interest in bonds. They will form part of this investing category. So say for instance, you've got an investment in another entity, and that is, it's completely, it will return, it will return that will generate a return independent from your normal operations. So you are a manufacturing entity. You say, for instance, say you are making bicycles, but you have got an investment in another entity, and that will generate a return on its own, separate from your operations, your normal operations. It will fall under the investing category. That is as clear as daylight as to know how you will classify or where you will bring an income and expenses into the investing category. So if you can't bring it into the investing category because those things are more operational wide for your manufacturing entity, the default category is then obviously your operating category. But this is just an indication of how and what you need to bring into your investing category. The same would appear for your financing category. And normally, for your perspective, your finance cost relating to liabilities will fall under your financing category. So it is plainly simple for fact 2601 where you will classify certain things and items. And even for the theoretical perspective, where we will ask of you the multiple choice questionnaire, we will ask of you, this entity has got, for example, a main specified business activity, and it is it's giving out loans, or it's an investment property. Will the gains and losses or the interest or the rental income from that investment property, will it fall under investing category, operating category, or where? Then you must know, because it's a specified main business activity, it will definitely fall under the operating section, okay, because that's part of its operations, and that is clear. So the operating category, like we've said, is the default income and expenses not classified elsewhere. All right. So you need to classify income and expenses that you could not allocate first to your investing or financing category. You will bring into the operating category. Now, colleagues, especially for our purposes, you will look at entities without specified main business activity. This is the statement of profit or loss that you will need to present whenever we ask for a statement of profit or loss according to the IFRS 18 new disclosure perspective. Now, this is where you will classify all your expenses for the operations of the manufacturing entity. We will not be looking at main specified business activity like providing finance to customers. We will look at the manufacturing entities. All entities that you are familiar with will bring in this statement of profit or loss according to IFRS 18. So other operating income, distribution costs, that other operating income can be whenever you sell an asset, a vehicle, a machine, whatever the case might be, that's part of your operations, will fall under other operating income. Distribution costs, administrative costs, other operating expenses, for example, your depreciation, all right, on your assets, they will all fall under the other operating expenses. Then the investing activities, income from investment properties, okay, your fair value or gains and losses, rental income from investment properties, anything that will return something independently of your operations. That is when it falls under the investing category. And then your financing category is your finance cost on your liabilities. That's basically anything to do with financing your liabilities, finance cost, and so forth. So you will have a clear understanding of how to classify your income and expenses for your entity. So colleagues, yes, We still need to do all the financial statements. There were not major changes in the statement of financial position, neither in statement of changes in equity, apart from disclosure purposes, which you can go and look in the material. I only wanted to highlight the most important aspects of what you need to know. Statement of cash flows is you will deal with that in Fact 2602. And then the notes to the financial statements are critically important for your perspective, for future reference in your assessment 2 and exams perspective, where we will definitely ask of you to prepare, for example, the property, plant and equipment note, the leases note for lessees, investment property notes, etc. Okay, so the notes are critically important, but like I explained before, we are moving away towards asking only statements or the preparation for statements. All right, and I've given you everything now in regards to statement of profit or loss and other comprehensive income as to how you need to prepare them. There were no material changes in the statement of financial position with regards to IFRS 18. Okay, and I will show you where the rainbow example, like I've indicated, that's a very good example. But remember, the rainbow example in your study material is a conclusion of all the lessons tools included. So basically, you cannot work through that one on your own. You will need to look at the solution, but the rainbow example includes all the changes in accordance to the statement of profit loss for IFRS 18. And there it is shown as to how you need to deal with IFRS 18. But I'm going to take you to a much a simpler exercise of what you need to know for IFRS 18. And colleagues, we are almost done with IFRS 18. As I indicated that I will only highlight the most important aspects of IFRS 18, and then we will lastly still look at an example. But this is a theoretical type of question, what you can expect in the assessment 1. All right, so IFRS 18 clearly prescribes the conditions for classifying income and expenses in their operating category, of which forms part of the entity's main business activity. It is therefore important to identify the entity's main business activity before classifying income and expense items. If the entity's main business activity is to provide finance, here is the crux. This entity main business activity is to provide finance to customers. So that's part of their operations. In which category will it classify the interest income from loans to customers? Now, colleagues, it's obviously the operating category because that's the entity's main business activity. It's part of their operations. And I've indicated where you can get the reference for this section as to where you will find the answer. And this is the type of theoretical type of question that you can expect for your upcoming assessment. Now, colleagues, I want to take you quickly through this last example, okay, that we can allocate these type of things whenever you get something like a manufacturing entity and where it will all be taken through. All right, so colleagues, you can see that when we're dealing with manufacturing entity of bicycles, for example, like I explained earlier, all your categories will have things that are allocated to them. Sales. You sold 10,000 bicycles or a revenue of 10,000 for the period. Cost of sales, all part of the operating. The profit on sale of 1,000 bicycles is in the operating section. Shelling expenses, general and administrative expenses for part of your operations. Depreciation charge on normal PPE machinery, that is the one that you are making the bikes for. Okay, you can see that clearly these items form part of the operating section of your entity. Investment made and investment property and rental income, where will that thing go? Surely it must go to your investing category. Okay, that is how you will classify these items. Dividends receivable from subsidiary. Clearly, it's an investment in the subsidiary. It's not part of your normal operations, so it must form part of your investing. Fair value adjustments held for trading financial assets. 10. Again, investing activities. These assets can generate a return largely independently of the operation assets, of the operating of the entity. That's why they will fall part of your investing category. Finance cost from the lease liabilities, okay, is financing, and interest received on a loan to customer is investing category. You receive interest on a loan given to a customer. That is not part of your operations, but it's part of your investments. Okay. And that is why, as to why you will, it will fall under the investing category. Financing, finance cost from lease liabilities. Now, colleagues, there is another Excel example, which basically what I have done is I've taken this thing. Let me just go out of here. Okay. And I will post, or this is already on the site. If you go to the My Module site, I have interpreted the example I've just shown you on the PPE. Okay, on this example, I have gone and PDF it in a better format, explaining as to where it needs to be allocated. I also have given you a summary of the investing category, what you need to look out for, okay, especially for your assessment 1. All right, so where you need to allocate what. The same for financing category and the same for the operating category, residual category. All right, colleagues. That is on the site, and here is an example of the of entities S does not have a specified main business activity. I also have given this to you to go through as to where you need to allocate certain things when you deal with them for a manufacturing entity. And colleagues, that is the crux of this IFRS 18. All right. This is for the statement of profit and loss and other comprehensive income, how you need to present the statement according to IFRS 18. More or less, everything that you need to know for assessment 1, okay, and how to interpret the different categories with the subtotals required when we were to ask of that. And then, colleagues, I've posted that under the site. And then the management defined performance measures, as you will see, is another requirement of IFRS 18, but you only need to take note of this, and we cannot ask of you a long 10-mark question, okay? It might come up in a theoretical type of question where management defined performance measures needs to be addressed. All right, so colleagues, you can go through with this in your own time. It's from a theoretical perspective, but we cannot, there is not too much emphasis for FACT 2601 on these type of things. Okay, colleagues, so from IFRS 18's perspective, management defined performance measurements, the categories as being disclosed are the most critical important aspects. What I've given you here is what you need to know. Colleagues, this slides I will update and I will put for you on the site. Okay, if you go under your site and you will go through lesson tool, at the bottom, you will find online class 3 and all the material that I've discussed. You can see it's already there. You will find the power presentation slide as well as this PDF example that you will find there. Now, let me go back to the slides, and colleagues, that is IFRS 18 in a nutshell. I have gone very quick over the most important topics and what is critical for you to know. Remember, for all assessment or examination tips, you must read the required first, practice a lot of questions. Your time management is of the essence, and practice makes perfect. Let me now close off this session. We're going to stop for 5 minutes. I will be looking at questions and answers, or questions if there are any. And then let's get back at 11:45 I'm going to give you a 5-minute break before we hit IAS 2 inventory. As indicated, we are now, let me just get to the section here. I will look at some questions quickly, but as I indicated, I've got another session to do. I will just stop the recording for now, and then we can commence at 11:45 to look at IAS 2. But colleagues, I've really tried to summarize IFRS 18 for you in a nutshell, and what you need to know for the assessment and the upcoming examination, as indicated, how to address the certain categories, the subtotals of what's required for IFRS 18. Again, the slides are already posted on the site, as well as that JD example we went through. But from your perspective, you will be looking at how to classify income and expenses according to the function method, okay, according to those subtotals, those categories, and how you need to classify them. It's really simple for your perspective that you need to know. Okay, colleagues, let me stop the recording and let's get back to 11:45 for a toilet break, a comfort break, and then we're going to start looking at IAS 2. Thank you.